These trekking poles fall down to just 40 centimeters, weight under 170 grams per pole and cost close to 200 euros. Let's take a closer look at the Leki Makalu FX Carbon trekking poles. Enjoy the video! Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. For those of you just tuned into my channel for the very first time, my name is Gijs. I am a Dutch outdoor gear nutter from the Netherlands, of course, because that's why I am Dutch. Today I am reviewing the Leki Makalu FX Carbon trekking poles. When folded, they pack down to just 40 centimeters. Unfolded, they adjust from 110 centimeters to 130 centimeters and they weigh 169.9 grams per pole. Now let me tell you a little bit about the background of this review, because it's a bit different than many other reviews that I do. Once in a while I'll give clinics about trekking poles for the outdoor shops in the Netherlands, for outdoor staff, but also for outdoor enthusiasts. And because I don't own a large collection of trekking poles myself, I often ask Leki for support. They maintain a large test pool of poles specifically for these kind of events. Now, alongside more basic, straightforward models, the Leki Makalu FX Carbon is almost always part of that kit. And it's also the pole that generates the most questions, especially about the price. And that's why I asked Leki if I could keep a set temporarily, take them on real trips and do a proper field review. And they agreed, and that's how this review came to be. Let's talk a little bit about pole materials and the construction. The Leki Makalu FX Carbon is, as the name already suggests, made from carbon fiber. Interestingly, from the outside that's not immediately obvious. The poles don't have that classic technical carbon weave look that many people associate with carbon gear. Now instead they appear dark greyish, almost anthracite, and could easily be mistaken for aluminium poles that have been coated, maybe even with fiberglass. The reason is that Leki uses a very fine carbon weave, where the fibers are far from visible. On top of that, the poles have a matte finish, which contributes to this more subdued appearance. And that's something that I absolutely like. Now, internally the poles are hollow to keep weight down, something you immediately notice when you pick them up. They are not absolutely massive. The grip is made from a rubbery foam material that feels soft to the skin and very secure. The upper part of the grip is slightly articulated, as you can see, just to give it a more ergonomical shape. On the very top, the grip has a sort of mushroom shaped design. This is something I personally like a lot because I often hike while resting my hand on top of the grip rather than wrapping my hand firmly around it. The top of that mushroom shape is covered with a sturdy grippy rubber material that prevents slipping. The upper grip section is about 11 centimeters long with a circumference of roughly 95 millimeters. Below that, the grip extends another 15 centimeters, giving you plenty of options for hand placement. Like any trekking pole, the Makalu FX Carbon comes with a wrist strap near the grip. Adjusting is very straightforward. You loosen it just by pulling the strap and then put your hand underneath it and then adjust basically the tension. And then the pull strap down again and locks it totally into place. Now the material itself of the strap, it's very soft and feels comfortable to the skin. Personally, I never use straps and I'll explain why later. But from a comfort and construction perspective, this is a very well made strap. The Leki Makalu FX Carbon looks like a 3-pole section at first, because this is one, this is the second, and that's the third one. But there's more going on. There are actually 2 additional telescopic sections hidden inside the upper pole section, basically in this one. All of these sections are connected by a very strong Dyneema cord running through the inside of the pole. Because the pack size is only 40 centimeters, it makes sense that the largest section, the one containing those inner telescopic parts, is also 40 centimeters long, which is this part. The other two visible sections measure 20 and 30 centimeters. When folded, the pole forms a shape that looks a bit like a Z, a Z. And yes, if you know the other brand famous for this type of construction, feel free to mention it in the comments below. To assemble the pole, I'll simply align the sections and pull out the second section, which is this part, until I hear a metal click. And that click tells me that the pole is fully locked. After that, I adjust the length using Leki's external speed lock 2 plus system on the upper section. It's easy to use, doesn't require much force and can be adjusted if wear develops over time. For me, the correct length is about 115 centimeters. So that's where I lock the flick lock in place. And at that point, it's time to start hiking. Every trekking pole lives and dies by its tip, and that's basically this part. This is the part that touches the ground thousands of times over a lifetime. Now, on softer trails, wear is minimal. But in rocky alpine terrain, the tip is constantly, every time it's challenged. And that's why the Makalu FX Carbon uses a carbide tip. Carbide is extremely hard, almost as hard as a diamond, and highly resistant to wear and tear. Now, the tip is mounted on a flexible base, so if it gets caught in a crack or wedge between rocks, it bends instead of transferring all that force into the pole shaft itself. And important, the tip, you can exchange it, so it is replaceable. Now, the standard basket is relatively small, with a diameter of about 40 millimeters, and it can be replaced or swapped for a larger one if needed. For example, if you're heading out into the snow or in really sandy or muddy conditions. Now, normally these poles also come with a rubber cap for the tip, which protects the carbide and improves grip and comfort on hard surfaces. Now, my test, Leki said, didn't include those rubber caps, so I used caps from other poles, but they fit nicely on here because basically it's all one and the same system. Now, the same goes for the pouch. Mine didn't come with it, but if you buy a new set, then you definitely get a pouch. And that is very, very important, but then I'll need to talk a little bit about real-world use of the trekking poles. I've tested the Leki Makalu FX Carbon on multiple trips in the Alps, in the Netherlands, in Sweden and here in the Belgium Ardennes. And honestly, I've been pleasantly surprised by how rugged they are. Carbon poles have never been actually my personal favorite. In the past, a single sharp impact on a rock could damage or break them, and really it happened to me. Now, with these poles, that has never happened. I'm sure it's possible under, let's say, the wrong circumstances, but my pair is still 100% intact. One note, I didn't test these poles in freezing conditions. The coldest temperatures I encountered were around 2 degrees Celsius. Now, like I already told you, the grip feels soft in the hand and works well for average size hands. The mushroom-shaped top provides excellent support and grip. The extended lower grip section allows me to choke down on the pole basically, which is especially useful on steep ascents or traversing angled terrain. I personally use the grip in several different ways. On flat or even terrain, I rest my palm on the mushroom top. Almost like I'm using a walking cane like a very old granddad. That's simply my preferred style, and I'll probably make a dedicated video about that at some point. Now, in more technical terrain, the grip really shines. The hook-shaped contour supports the whole hand very well. And when gripping lower, and when I turn the pole around, with the mushroom shape basically pointing backwards, that same hook fits perfectly between my index and my middle finger. And that's something that I really do like. As for the straps, I already said I don't use them. I don't like being fixed to the pole. If you trip, the leverage of a pole is huge, and I've seen and experienced situations where people couldn't let them go in time, and This is for me a personal choice, of course. So if you like using straps, absolutely be free to do so, but be aware of these little trade-offs. Now, the tip has proven to be absolutely strong and flexible, which helps prevent breakage when it gets stuck. The small basket works fine as long as you're not hiking in deep snow. Now, for winter hiking, I would definitely recommend switching to a larger snow basket, like for example my wife is using at the moment on her trekking poles, and they prevent getting too deep into the snow. And even if you're hiking on beaches, they work absolutely the same way. Now, about the compact pack size, most backpacks have an external trekking pole attachment system. And with these poles, I couldn't make those systems work properly. Simply, they are just too short. When I had the pouch, probably that would work when I put it into one of those bottle holders, or just between another strap that's strapping basically the outside of a backpack. Now, instead I stored them in the stretchy front pocket of my backpack, the one that we normally use for storing a wet rain jacket. Now, and that's how I lost one pole in Sweden's Rogen National Park. And on the video that I was shooting when I was doing this, I know exactly the point where I lost it. The thing is, we were 200 kilometers away from that point because I threw the backpack in the car, we drove, and then when I needed it the next time, I thought, where is my pole? And I had to look at all the video to see actually the point where I lost it, and I found that, which is pretty astonishing. So Leki did really not make a big point out of this, so they just sent me a new pair, but this one goes of course back after the review, and it goes back into the test pool. Now, some backpacks offer shoulder straps carrying systems, and those work well for my trail running poles, but the Makalu FX Carbon is just a little bit too bulky for those attachment points. And now it's time to head on to my verdict. How do I rate that Leki Makalu FX Carbon trekking poles? The Leki Makalu FX Carbon is a premium trekking pole that delivers on compactness, low weight and strength. Despite being carbon, it has proven to be surprisingly rugged, even with somewhat careless use on rocky alpine terrain. I'm not the most gentle person in this respect. The grip is a standout feature, offering multiple comfortable and secure hand positions. Setup is fast and intuitive, and the Speedlock 2 Plus system works reliably. Now, the biggest downside, of course, is the very compactness as well, because it doesn't work very well with many backpack pole attachment systems. So when you have the pouch, that problem is basically solved. Now, if you are looking for a light, strong, versatile trekking pole with an excellent grip, the Leki Makalu FX Carbon is a solid choice. Just pay attention to how you carry them when they're folded. And now the price. I already said in the beginning that it is just under 200 euros, and it is, because it retails officially for 195 euros. If you look online, you can find them probably a little bit cheaper, but still, that's the price officially you need to pay for this. And because of that high price, I rate the Makalu FX Carbon at 8.8 points out of 10 total. Now, I really hope you like this review and that it is useful to you. And if it is, then please give the video a like and consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, because it's all for free and I like to make more videos for free, but then more subscribers is very, very helpful in that respect. Well, greetings from the Belgium Ardennes, enjoy the outdoors and stay safe. Ciao, ciao! Now, if you hear some wrinkling in this video, I can't do anything about it, because it's the down jacket that I'm wearing. It's a new wrap down jacket that has a Gore-Tex windstopper membrane in it. And I've noticed that whenever I move, it makes a little bit of a sound, like the old Thermarest Neo Air mattresses. And the review on this jacket is going to be later, but you'll get it in a couple of weeks' time.